Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be across this beautiful blue-green globe of ours. Welcome to Real News Live. I'm your host, Mike Barrett in Seattle, Washington. And that lady down there from Hayden, Idaho, the lady with the lustrous hair, is Jennifer Falah-Doring, joining us for Free Reading Friday. Jen, how are you doing today?
Great. Friday. I always
looking forward to the weekend?
Yeah.
Looking forward to the weekend. Long week of giving people readings and giving people information. Okay, so we have some fairly big stuff we want to talk about today concerning Masara Jessara and the live that Phil G did last night. However, there's a couple other items that I wanted to put out first and talk to people about really quickly, because I think in some ways they are related to each other. Last night it was reported that former NFL receiver Demaryius Thomas was found dead at age 33 in his home. Preliminary reports indicating his death stemmed from a medical issue. Well, again, yet another 33-year-old young elite athlete found dead. I guarantee you, he either recently had the jab or he recently had a booster within 2 weeks. And he has probably died, I'm guessing, of a heart issue in his own home. This is a young guy who was a great player for 7 or 8 years with the Denver Broncos and played in a couple of Super Bowls and has now basically just lost his entire life. And they are going to shut this down and try to prevent anybody from seeing any of this. I posted a story about this. I got out of Facebook jail, 30 days in Facebook jail last night at about 9 o'clock. I posted about this. Within an hour, I'm blocked again for 30 days. So again, they are going to do anything they can to suppress this. And I just kind of want to say prayers up for Demaryius Thomas. And I'm just hoping that sooner or later, some of these things are going to start resonating with people, and they're going to figure out that it's the vaxxers that are doing this and not anything else. Speaking of that, I have another friend. Kara Mooney is somebody, kind of a Facebook friend who's just in her 40s. She has just recently had a major stroke. That's all we know about it. She just got married in August. Her life was great, but then she posted on her Facebook about how she had gone to some sort of company corporate training, and there was somebody there who was sick with COVID. She contracted COVID. She did not, as far as I know, use ivermectin or the other methods that we've recommended on this show and on the Saturday Night Live show with Brooks Agnew. And now she's had a stroke. And I suspect either she was involuntarily or against her knowledge given a vaccination while she was in the hospital, or it has something to do with the COVID itself or some other treatment they gave her. But I would like everybody to take a minute and say some prayers up for Kara. She had her whole life in front of her. It's pretty rare to find a good man at 40 in your 40s and be married and be that happy. So I just want to say I'm sorry about this. And it's again, it's like this shit has to stop. These vaccines have to fucking stop. They have to be pulled off the market, and the people that produce them need to be hung is what they need. There needs to be some retribution against this right now, because it's just devastating people all over the country. And again, to the white hats out there who are probably not watching, when are you guys going to do something about this? When are you guys going to act? I don't know if you have anything to say about it, Jen, but please feel free to chime in.
Nothing more than any of you have said. I could go on for an hour about that. But, also the people who are concealing the truth about the side effects and what's happening to people are just as guilty because you are allowing it to continue. Mm-hmm. You're aiding and abetting. So the ball player passed from he had a blood clot in his lungs.
Yeah. Okay. So caused by the vaccines, obviously. Mm-hmm. I didn't know that, but that's what you're saying. So that will probably come out at some point here. So is there any hope that his death will start to wake more people up about these vicious poisons that they're putting in people's bodies? Is it?
I think every death is. But then, just like people, you see, if people have taken the vaccination, they're going to be more resistant to listening because they don't want to believe that, no, that can't be true because I took one. Okay. And I told my kids, that can't be true. This guy must have been on drugs. He must have been doing something else. And then the media tries to help to explain it away. And then they're like, immediately grab onto that. Like, yep, okay, I can handle that. Yep. I can handle it now. Because a lot of people went in not thinking anything was wrong with it.
Well,
it's sad.
And we actually have documents now that talk about how, let's call this a vaccine, even though it's not a vaccine, so people will think it's safe. That's even documents they've found amongst some of the pharmaceutical companies. So,
right, you guys know me pretty well now.
Yeah.
For example, if somebody said over and over to you, like a family member said, "Oh my God, she is so evil. She is so evil. Don't even look her in the eye. She's so evil." You'd start to believe it. Long enough, you'd start to believe it. When the truth of the matter is that it's so not true, and so this is what's happening all over the place with this situation, and it's sad. So I do think people are starting to wake up about it. I don't think that people are as in the dark as, I think it's probably 60-40 against the vaccines. So But,
guys, I'm getting a lot of stuff about people waiting for their shipments. And what I posted is the link to Dr. Brooks Agnew's site. Brooks is keeping track of all of these shipments. He recently sent me an update on my HCQ purchase. Go to his website. I've just posted it in the chat. Go talk to Brooks. He can track your order, find out where it is, let you know when it's likely to be there. So that's what I got to say.
Mine took a long time. I got the ivermectin, but I haven't got the HCQ yet. And
like you, my HCQ hasn't come yet either. But
so I'm thinking that's probably just delays and too many orders or something.
Yeah, and we just recently had a holiday, which always screws up the mail and makes it seems to send it back like 10 days. It's pretty bizarre.
But I do know it's a legitimate operation. You're not getting scammed and nothing like that. No. It does come and it is real and he does everything he says he's going to do. But it's just probably all the shipping and everything else coming from another country.
And just go to Brooks' site and he should be able to track it for you. So, and again, I just feel like if Kara had some of this, she could have maybe just treated herself at home and she wouldn't be in this situation. But
well, you usually have a stroke because of some kind of blood clot, right?
Yeah, somewhere. So
she probably got the vaccine.
That's pretty upsetting because she was a nice lady and had a great future in front of her. Like you, she found another guy and got married. She just got married in August. And now this has happened to her. So hopefully med beds are real and we can get her in one early in 2022 and we can fix all these because med beds apparently are great at fixing all the neurological problems. So good luck to Kara on that. Okay, another piece of information, another item that I think is really important here, Jen. I'm going to try to get over to share my Telegram screen here. Of course, it doesn't come up. Now let's see if it comes up. There it is, Telegram share. There was news today that the United States won its appeal in a UK court seeking WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange's extradition to America to face spying charges. Of course, the truth behind this, remember, this is real news. The real news, the truth behind this is that will allow Assange to bring in all kinds of evidence against the deep state. So in some ways, that's really a good thing. And by the way, somebody named Philosophy posted this. She's awesome. You guys should go subscribe to Philosophy. And also to this guy over here, Mike Barra. Subscribe to him on Telegram. But also the General McInerney Telegram channel, which may or may not really be General McInerney, had this to say, and I don't know if it's true, Jen, and I think we'll check and see if it's true. Oh, okay, great. I just lost it by clicking on the wrong thing. Where is it? Let's go down here. Okay, what he said is, just so you understand the Assange case ruling, actually, this is from E Will Help You. What was issued is not an approval of extradition. It was a remittance. This means the UK High Court found that the district judge ruled in error on 2 points out of the 5 the US government appealed on. Because of this, the case is sent back to the magistrate courts and is effectively retried before being sent to the UK Secretary of State, who makes the final decision. So this could take months and months and weeks, if not a year. This ruling just represents the continuation of using the process itself to punish Assange. As long as the US can endlessly appeal decisions, they can keep Julian as a silent hostage in the UK without ever having to proceed with their actual case against him. Assange's legal team will likely be able to appeal things during this process, and by no means is the road end here for Julian or for our collective rights and liberties at stake in this case. Everything is still very much in motion, and despite the UK High Court having failed to uphold any semblance of justice here, we are neither hopeless nor lost. We will win this yet. So this is from He Will Help You, I guess. So I would like to get your take then. Jennifer, does that mean Assange is coming to speak or not coming, or what? Which one of those two perceptions is correct?
He's coming in February.
He's coming in February. There you have it. Anything else you want to add to that, or are we good?
No? Well, I told you guys a long time ago they were going to bring him to the United States, and then he is going to be aiding the good guys with all of this. So he's coming.
So that's good. That is a good thing. Okay, so speaking of Telegram, last night there was a live by our buddy Phil Godlewski, who we like, and where is Phil's channel? Where he posted, it's called The Takeover, December 9th, 2021. I've posted it on my Telegram. I've posted it on mikebear.blogspot.com. You can go watch it. And I think you should fast forward to, 26 minutes in, Jen says, I say about 50 minutes in, where he starts talking about Sarah. And he said some things that were interesting. I think we're not gonna argue this last point on Phil for a little bit later. So I took some notes. And his take on Nasara is different than ours, right? And so we're going to go over these points that Phil made, and we're going to discuss them, and we're going to tell you why a lot of what he said was wrong. So, okay. To start with, he said, look, the number one priority with this whole plan was to avoid a civil war. That Biden needs to be made to be seen as very unpopular. He also needs to be seen as sick and ready for removal, which we're there. And the Maxwell trial needs to be in motion and exposing the pedophilia that's out there. And by the way, we just saw a real sicko thing. There's a Reno 911 comedy attacking QAnon with patent.
I'm so upset about that. They're hilarious, and I used to watch that a long time ago.
Well, again, the good guys are not who we think they are. The bad guys are not who we think they are. I mean, you're going to have to give up Reno 911. I'm going to have to give up maybe Duran Duran, and you too, because they're going to turn out to be bad guys. That's
or all music.
Part of what this process is going to teach us is that people that we may have liked in the past are not good people, after all. So again, he says we're there, and the only thing left then at that point is Nasara. So the Maxwell trial, however, has been stopped, which Simon predicted 3 or 4 days ago. He said the trial may be stopped, halted for some reason, and then a new entity will take over. So we don't know if that's the case. We don't know what's going on with the Maxwell trial. I don't even know. I haven't even checked yet whether it's back on today or not. But the fact is that it's moving forward and it's exposing the pedophiles. So the last thing then, of course, would be Nasara. Now, he claimed that his information was from a valid source inside the Treasury Department. And that this whole process is extremely complex, It's taking place behind the scenes, which we know, and that it involves currency revaluations and a whole bunch of other stuff. So then he went to Nassara Law Section 10, where it talks about initiating a new currency, the so-called rainbow currency, which we're going to show you in a little bit, which is going to be the new gold, silver, and platinum, he said, backed currency. And replacing the fiat currency, which was backed by the full faith and credit of the people of the United States, basically the birth certificate initiated by FDR in 1933. So if anybody could shut that dog up, it would really be cool. So, you know, I don't have a problem to this point with any of that stuff. So he's getting a ball. Dave's getting a ball for Barkley to keep him quiet. So what we have, then he went into some stuff which I think is totally wrong. But do you have any comments on the first parts? I mean, he basically said the Nassara trial is important, the Maxwell trial is important, all that stuff.
Yeah.
So then he said something that I think is fascinating. He said that there are going to be electronic remittance transfers, and that this was initiated on January 21st, 2020, where Trump initiated part of the Nassara law. Actually, he started on February 3rd of 2017. Trump began working on Nassara, which is, in essence, the purpose of his whole administration. And in July of 2020, he made signed some contracts and agreements, and he intended to announce them on January 1st, 2021, if he had, quote, won re-election. But because of the voter fraud, that didn't happen. But here's the fascinating thing. What he said was, now Phil has previously trashed cryptocurrencies, and I don't think he's right about that. I never have. I've been very public about that. What he said is that the cryptocurrency, which is going to be used for electronic funds transfers, basically for processing payments and things like that, is going to be a coin called XRP. XRP. I have some XRP, and I'm planning, just so you know, what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a whole bunch of my crypto holdings and convert them to XRP. So is that true? Is it true that XRP is going to be the primary coin of choice for the digital aspects of this new reset?
There'll be several.
There'll be several. XRP apparently is probably one of them. I'm guessing XRP is one of them, correct? Can we say that? Okay. All right. So about 57 minutes in, he starts talking about how DC is a ghost town. It's shut down. Banks, a lot of banks are closed. The FBI building is closed. The military is moving in, and they will end up taking control when we flip to Nassara. The courts, the banks, the media, and the schools. Thought that was very fascinating. Thank you, General McInerney, for coming in. So then he gets into the details of how Nassara is going to work. So what we've previously told you is that you are going to get paid back all of your mortgage debt, your credit cards, your car loans, your student loans. You're going to get paid back all that stuff which the Federal Reserve has stolen from you. Well, according to Phil's contact, it's going to work a little different than that, and here's how he described it. He said that with mortgages, the interest is going to be repaid, not the principal, only the interest, and that it will be paid in increments of $5,000 to $10,000 a month. In other words, if you had a $450,000 mortgage and you paid $150,000 in interest on it, then you are going to get credit for the principal you've already paid down. You're going to get $150,000 back for the interest that was charged to you, because that was all illegal. But you're still going to have to pay the remainder of the principal, this is completely different from what I understand how Nassara is going to work. So that's what he says is going to happen. And those payments are not going to be in one lump sum. They're going to be $5,000 to $10,000 a month. Now, with a mortgage, he says you can choose to either apply that to the principal and therefore pay the mortgage off, or you can take it in payments, separate. from your mortgage. In addition to that, because the principal is much lower, your mortgage payments are going to go down because you're not going to be paying interest anymore. And he thinks about half. Okay. Now, as to the debt forgiveness, he said that credit cards are going to work basically the same way, except that you won't have the option of taking payments on your interest, that they will first pay off the balance of the credit card or the car loan, and then anything's left you can get payments on, again, in increments rather than one lump sum. And he says that student loans are going to be forgiven in their entirety. Okay, so that was what he came up with. Now, I think, personally, that is all bullshit. However, I believe that Phil sincerely believes it. I believe that his contact sincerely believes it. So what we want to get to is a couple things, Jen. First of all, I suspect this contact is a fairly low-level player in the Treasury Department and not a high-level player. And remember, I'm going to give Wano Savin credit for something he said under the name of Deep Space in 2007, which became the tagline for my New York Times bestselling book, Dark Mission. And that is, in government, the lie is different at every level. So this guy has been told a lie. I suspect this is a guy who probably is tasked with going through a bunch of people's lifelong credit accounts and saying, okay, Mike Barra got ripped off to this extent, so this is the interest that he paid. So go ahead and just talk, and I can tell you have some things you want to say about this. And then we're going to tell you why it doesn't make sense for a variety of reasons. But go ahead, Jen.
Well, I think the guy that he talked to is kind of like would be considered in a company like middle management.
Right.
Like, not the grunts, but right above them. And I do believe that he has been tasked with certain things like that, trying to find out how much do we owe back in interest. But I think the rest of it may be him jumping to conclusions, saying, well, this is all there is. That doesn't cover the rest of the fraud. Okay? And so it's like this whole idea of the way this has been laid out sounds too much like the old system of like, well, yeah, so we stole from you. So we're going to give that back, but only part of it. And we'll just steal from you less now. Okay?
Right.
Because we can't afford to pay all that out. Really. So wasn't there just a bunch of gold and money confiscated? I mean, wasn't there enough to like run this country for like 100 years? I mean,
yeah.
I think you got the money. All right. And if the Treasury is going to start pulling the same crap that the old system did, what's the point? I don't think that's legitimate. I think, just think about this. All right. Anytime that I have purchased a home, refinanced something, a car, a home loan, that is a legal contract between you and the bank, basically.
Mm-hmm.
There's a million papers to sign. Excuse me. And somebody actually comes to your house, that you go to their office, and you sit down, and it's about an hour of signing papers. Everything has to be perfect. If anything is not perfect, they have to completely reprint the contract or whatever paper it was and have you re-sign it in person, notarized, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to change your payment at all, you either have to refinance to lower your pay down your thing, get an entire new loan so that it says what your payment will be on that contract. Now, if anybody knows anything about contracts, if anything about the contract was fraudulent, it's null and void.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Everything is null and void.
It's the whole thing. That doesn't mean, okay, well, sorry, we stole from you, but hey, can you pay back this one part? No.
And when it's declared, wait a minute, when it's declared fraud and null and void, who does the home fall into the possession of? The bank? No, because the bank does not own your home, and never did. That's why on the paperwork, it calls you the homeowner. It's your home.
So that's why, although Phil's intentions may be absolutely true, and he may absolutely believe this person, and he may absolutely make sense to him. And in the beginning, you know, that I was saying, well, I don't understand why they would send out big checks and make everybody a millionaire, because society would collapse, nobody would work. There's plenty of people who wouldn't be getting enough money to stop working. It doesn't, so we're going to go to all this trouble, right? We're going to go to all this trouble, years, and the fight, and take down the deep state and all the corruption and everything else, and you just get your interest back? I don't think so. So what I'm thinking is that this person probably, that spoke to Phil, probably completely believes what he's saying. Mm-hmm. I think part of it is his opinion. Phil completely believed him because of his position, and reported honestly to us what he got. But it just doesn't hold water. It doesn't hold water. There is a video on my Philosophy Telegram chat group, if you want to go there. Probably a couple posts from the bottom. And if you go to the 26-minute mark, there's a guest on
Mark Z this morning.
Mark Z, who explains it very well.
Let me go there. Go to philosophy. Is it Jennifer Falah?
Well, go to the group chat.
Well, I don't know which one it is, hon. Oh yeah, here it is. Here's a link, and I'm going to. This is the coffee with Mark Z this morning, talking about it. So
go to 26 minutes.
Yes, ma'am. Can you see this screen? It's jumping to a new screen. Can you see that?
We can see the screen, but it's not playing.
By the way, I've been following Mark Z for a long time. He's a really sweet man and a good guy. Let me just hang on. And this is why my computer sucks. God damn it. Okay, hang on. I'll get there. Hang on, folks.
Pausing to refer to the IC.
God, I fucking hate this computer. Jesus, I fucking hate it. Okay.
Okay, mortgage obligations, CMOs. Page 174 of the Dictionary of Finance and Investment Terms. And we know that I wrote a chart, which was published by Chris back in 2009, showing that NDS, CDO's CDS scam flowchart, where they severed the UCC1 from mortgages.
This is other stuff. Don't worry about this.
Documents. Therefore, you cannot connect the UCC1 lien held at the court based on that it is supposed to be connected to your mortgage. We know that's a fact. Now, with regard to the U.S. Treasury contact on how the Sarah will treat all interest, usury, forgiveness. Okay. The U.S. Treasury is a part of a corrupt corporation, people. It is not part of a government. It never has been since 1871. I recall when Leo and I were sitting at the coffee shop just outside Citibank, where they held for 5 hours. Well, they held a meeting inside Treasury with the various parties on how they were going to divvy up the $1.5 trillion, 1.54, that Leo was going to pay on that $4.5 trillion. It was not going to the shareholders of the country. In other words, you, the taxpayers. It was going to individual pockets. So, now we have been told over the past 30-some years by Treasury, including your Mark, that the Treasury's going to do this, the Treasury's going to do that. And it's all been BS. Why? Because they're part of the corrupt corporation. I do not take this item, this supposed thing on the Sarah from the U.S. Treasury person, quote unquote, as being gospel, because when I put in the codes for the gold treaty, these people are not going to be working at Treasury, because there'll be a brand new Treasury called the Republic, the Treasury for the Republic of the United States of America. It'll be elsewhere.
Okay, so that's part of the information. And here's the thing. Phil obviously believes that banks have money. He believes that banks create money. He believes that the Federal Reserve creates money. And as I've told you many times on the show, and I think I've got to get a video up about how this all really works. What happens is that when you apply for a mortgage, you put your signature on it for $300,000. That money is created by you. What the banks do is they take your application to the Federal Reserve window at their local Federal Reserve bank, and they say, oh, okay, Mike Barra, yeah, he has $11 billion in his account at this Federal Reserve bank, so here's $300,000. Then they take that back to me, and they say, Mike Barra, here's your loan for $300,000. You've jumped through all these hoops, and we've decided to approve you. Therefore, here's your $300,000, which you must pay us back at this interest. So the total mortgage is going to be $450,000 by the time you get done, and you're going to have to pay all the interest first before you pay very much at all of the principal. So you're going to spend the first 15 years paying us, and you're going to get the rest of it later. So it's going to take you 30 years. It's called a mortgage because you're expected to be dead before you pay it off. That's why it's called a mortgage, by the way. Mortality, you're dead. So this is all a lie. That's why on the paperwork it says I'm the homeowner. That's why you will find a note in your mortgage paperwork, I guarantee you, if you go through it, that says something along the lines of, I understand that I am granting the bank an interest in a property that I already own. It says it right there, and nobody fucking reads it. It says that right there, and they make you sign that off before they will, quote, give you the money for the house. So the entire mortgage is fraud. The money does not come from the Federal Reserve Bank. It comes from your account at the Federal Reserve Bank. It's your money, and the principal and interest is all fraud in a loan like that. So like Jennifer says, they're either going to have to get you into a new loan for it to work Phil's way, or which is just the principal, or they're going to pay you everything off in a lump sum. Now, okay, go ahead, Jen, if you have something you want to say about that. Go ahead. I was just going to say this. It's all fraud. All of it, the entire $450,000. So what I think this is I suspect these may be the rules for certain people, for younger people who don't know what's really going on, perhaps, or this is going to be the new system, which is still going to be fraudulent, but much less fraudulent. Remember, the slaves in Rome got paid, but they were still slaves. They still had to do everything their master said, but they did get paid, and they got taken care of.
How is that different than a job?
Well, right, exactly. It's not. And jobs are modern day slavery. And then again, you have to understand that within the Patriot movement, there are people like Wano Savin who either don't know that this is how money is really created and that everything is really ours, or they don't want us to know that, or what they want to do is they want to transition to the real system where everybody has kind of unlimited funds over generations. Maybe they feel like it's too radical and too drastic. So only a few people, only some people, maybe older people who've had a lifetime of mortgages and credit, maybe they're going to get lump sums. And maybe the young people are going to get incremental payments back on their interest because the society still needs them to go to work. So that's what I see here as a possibility.
So what they're telling us, okay.
Yeah.
Even in this scenario that Phil laid out, that, okay, we have your money. We're going to tell you slaves when and how much you get.
Mm-hmm.
We're in control still with your money. that doesn't make sense to me when you take a look at the whole NESARA deal. Okay?
Right.
It doesn't
It's not
fit.
the way NESARA was intended to work.
Who wrote that in? All right?
Yeah.
And that's an attempt to move back into the old system that we are controlling the masses, we are doing this. That does not add up with the entire revolution that's happening right now to give power back to the people. I say,
Right.
okay, well, we owe you $1 million. You can have $5,000 a month. Listen, anytime you're holding my money,
It's my
I
money.
need to sign terms.
Right.
When I decide to purchase something for a certain amount of money a month and for a certain interest rate and blah, blah, blah. First of all, I believe it's compound interest. So it's like if you really take a look at it, you end up paying double for that house over time. I mean,
Right.
almost half or more of your house payment is interest. So, I think, what's ours? I think ours is like 18 something a month, but we live in Idaho. We're only paying like $400 or $500 on the principal.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. Anyway,
so
and we've got a good interest rate, so it's like, what?
Yeah.
Anyway, but I do not. There's too many loopholes in that theory. There's too many ways where that is the same old system.
Yep.
And that's not what we're doing.
Exactly. Here's the thing. Now, but again, Jen, this could be if the intent behind this for people is to transition to the new system over a couple of generations. I can understand that, because if we were to suddenly go to a system where we had access to all of our birthright funds, everybody would be rich. And if everybody's rich, nobody's rich.
Well, this
collapse.
whole concept is, we're only going to give you $5,000-$10,000 a month.
Yeah.
Because we don't want everybody to stop working. You can stop working on $5,000-$10,000 a month, depending, especially if your health payment just lowered a great deal.
Yep.
So that doesn't make sense either.
and
And
here's
who
the
gets
thing.
to decide that? And if it's my money, and if it was a settlement, correct me if I'm wrong, but if I received a settlement, and they say, well, they don't have the money, will you agree to take these payments? Then you sign and agree to take those payments. They don't just say, this is what you get. All right? we're gonna, and then, trust us. We'll make sure that you get it. Right? Just like, anybody tried to get disability lately? How easy was that? That's just the whole thing just upsets me. Because why? I don't know why it upsets me so bad. I just feel like it's like, okay. So you're admitting that you've been stealing from us. And so you're just like skimming off the top once again, like the old system said, well, we're just not going to steal from you as much.
Oh yeah, but we're not the bad people that stole from you. We're the good people, but we're still going to steal from you. Okay.
We're going to steal from you too.
We're going to be a lot fairer in how we steal from you, slave, peasant. That's what's going on. And I warned this. I've warned them this. Every fucking person in the government who might be involved with this needs to read my 2010 book, The Choice, because in there I will tell you what's going to happen. If you replace one corrupt system with another corrupt system, the revolution will not stop at the cabal. You guys are going to be next up against the wall, because we are not going to take this. The consciousness of the human race is changing dramatically because of the physics of this solar system, and nothing can stop that. And it doesn't end in 2021, and it might not end until after 2024. So if you want a second revolution on your hands, then impose something shitty and stupid like this. Here's the reality. Everybody who has a mortgage right now should get that property and all their interest paid back. Period. They should. Maybe not in one lump sum.
And this concept of going back over an entire person's life and figure out, well, they paid some interest here and some interest there, and but that was principal and blah blah blah. And how many loans?
Yeah, exactly.
The process of going over someone's life, think about that. You really think the government is going to spend that much time and money, and you think they could really do that in 5 years?
Maybe. You'd be surprised.
Nope.
They know when you've been
sleeping. Do you
sleeping.
know where they're getting the information to go back over your entire life?
Yeah, I do think
the birthright.
Yeah, I do think that technology exists. I do.
There's a reason that Archangel Gabriel said birthright. Right. Why would I use that word? Where the hell would I get that? Never heard it before, other than, in talking about lineage or something. But just the other day gave me that word. Then, when I was watching, now I am not saying that Phil would honestly come out and give you any kind of false information. I do not believe that would happen. I do not believe he's a dishonest person. I do think he has legitimate contacts when it comes to Q and the inside workings of that. I do believe he was involved in that, and probably it still is. I'm not saying that the man he spoke to purposely gave him any kind of misinformation. That may be his understanding at this time of what he believes is going on.
In government, the lie is different at every level. So this guy's been lied to, or this is the plan for a certain wait a minute, Jen. Or this is the plan for a certain segment of the population, but not everybody. That's also a possibility.
Okay, that pisses me off too. Because the whole thing is.
Here's the thing: they're both good. Phil's scenario is still good. It's still better than what we have. Our scenario is better. And I believe that our scenario, look, who do I trust? Do I trust you and Gabriel, or do I trust Phil? I trust you and I trust Gabriel. That's what matters.
Put two and two together, sit down with it, follow the line, say, okay, well, if this and this are true, what's our primary objective in this whole damn global thing, right? We're going to go through this whole damn global thing just to get some interest back? I don't think so. And to change the currency? No. If that was fraudulent, you're going to give back what was stolen from you. You got to give it all back. And it just doesn't make sense to me.
And the thing is, you could do that and still move the economy forward in a capitalistic sense, which would still motivate people to go to work and create. That's what they want. Is they don't want a bunch of pot-smoking losers sitting around playing video games and smoking. That's what they don't want, and I don't blame them. I understand that, but the productive generation needs to become more productive. So
this is what I was talking. Wait, let me just say this. Let me get it out before I forget, because I don't want to forget. Right. So last night when I was watching Phil's live, okay, I didn't have my glasses on. I couldn't get it. It kept throwing me off of the computer. I do enjoy his lives. I'm not trying to say anything about Phil today, okay? No. So I'm watching. I didn't have my glasses on, and I just kind of glanced over at the. I was looking at him, and at the peripheral vision, that he's got some knickknacks on the top shelf there, of his bookshelf.
And it was interesting. It's interesting because I saw what you saw when I kind of blurred my eyes. It was great.
Yes.
So kind of like this.
My eyes were blurred out, and I just see the word fake, and I went,
fake.
What? Oh no, those are separate little objects. I'm like, why would he put the word fake up there? I'm like, oh, okay. Sometimes this will happen to me, to get a message across when the angels know I'm gonna freak out. Okay, this is like, you'll have a dream with a word, or somebody will say something to you, or I'll see something in a commercial, or something will happen. Okay, that when it happens, I'll look back on that and go, when I start to freak out, oh, okay, there's my message. And so it's not that it's not that Phil is fake. It's not that everything he says is fake. It's not that everything he does is fake, which I do not believe that. I think that was just a message from me that possibly the information that he was given, which he completely believes is legitimate, might not be completely true. Right.
That's exactly what it means. And again, you're talking about Phil, a guy who doesn't understand how money's created, talking to another guy who doesn't understand how money's created. Two brainwashed guys who believe that the money comes from the banks or from the Federal Reserve, which it doesn't. It comes from your account at the Federal Reserve.
I think there's very, very few people. I never knew anything about that.
Well, and there are very few people. And actually, you guys that are on this chat, all 300 of you, you're learning things that 99.999% of the population doesn't know and will never know. And there's some, I think, desire to keep it that way. So you're just looking at a guy who's operating within his constraints. Einstein was wrong about almost everything that he's famous for. The reason why he is wrong is because he based his research, relativity and all that stuff, on John Clerk Maxwell's equations. But John Clerk Maxwell's equations were only a subset of his actual theory. His actual theory contained higher dimensional factors in the mathematics, which gave him the potential for a unified field theory in physics. Oliver Heaviside, a Freemason, came along and thought that the aspects of Maxwell's work, which were talking about higher dimensions, seventh level of heaven, whatever, Jen, were mystical and should be murdered from the theory. That's exactly what he did. So the equations that Einstein was working with from Maxwell to create relativity were flawed and incomplete from the beginning. And that's an example of exactly the same thing that's happening with Phil. To Phil, this makes sense because he thinks you still owe principal because the bank loaned you the principal. No, they fucking didn't. They stole your money out of the Federal Reserve and then gave it to you. It's like, cannibalism. It's like they fed you, it's terrible. It's like McDonald's. So that's not what happened. So therefore,
listen. All right. Just like we know that people inside the Q movement are privy to certain levels of information, right? And a handful know what's really going on and what's really going to happen. I'm sure the same is true about this entire reset. Otherwise, if you got the whole treasury knowing what's going on, somebody's going to screw it up. Something's going to happen. You got too many in the know. So basically what you probably have are these tiers of management like we have everywhere else. And they probably said, okay, this is your task. This is what you're doing. Go and find out how much every citizen has owed, has been fraudulently charged in interest. So he may have spoke to somebody who is in charge of that area of it.
Right.
If this is our treasury at the time, and it needs to function as our treasury at this time, but we will have a new treasury at some point in time for the Republic.
New Republic treasury.
Then everybody, every employee in that treasury is not going to be privy to what people are going to get. And especially something as secretive as, hey, they've been selling your birth certificate forever, and you as a human being are the only one who can create money, and you just did, and then they got 10 times that worth so that they could function. Because I spoke to, there's in conclusion, there's probably a very, very small amount of people who actually know what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. All right? So I think with good intentions, Phil came running to us and said, hey, listen, I got it. I heard about it. The guy that gave it to him, good intentions, saying, hey, this is what I know. But there's probably more. So.
Well, and again, if you think about this idea, it actually makes more sense. Most people are not going to have $4.7 million coming to them or $11 million coming to them. They're going to have $250,000 coming to them. That's the vast majority of people in America. And if you give them that in a lump sum, they're going to burn through that pretty quickly, most people. And then they're going to go back to work and have to go back to work and be productive again. So if you think about it, the plan of doing it incrementally, 1933, Alice Rivers, that's when they started using the birth certificate as the basis for the financial system. If you think about it, giving people the money in a lump sum is actually a better way to keep the economy moving forward and being productive. So, I don't know. I really question all this. And I think that
what I question is that they have made that decision on our behalf without our approval. I think they could give you the option of taking it in payments if you'd like it to be your income. But if it's a settlement, if it's owed to you, and our new republic definitely has the funds, some kind of quadrillion, whatever, it's not going to bankrupt the United States to pay what's owed, because who's paying it? Who's paying it?
We are.
The central bank. And if they have confiscated the funds from the central bank for fraudulent banking practices, but they don't want to give it back to us, that's fraudulent.
They are just as bad as the people who are stealing from us.
That's why it doesn't make sense to me.
Our entire life, so it doesn't make a lot of sense. All right. Now, one last piece of information is he talked about the new currency. He called it the note. It's going to be called the United States note, or the U.S. note. And there have been some representations of it out and about on the internet for a couple of years. And what he said was his contact told him that those visual representations of the, quote, rainbow currency, which is going to be backed by gold, silver, and platinum, they are real. And that is basically what they're going to look like. This is a mock-up of what the new currency is going to look like. So I'm going to share that now, and you guys can take a look at it. So the $1 bill is going to show George Washington. On the back, it's going to have the Great Seal of the United States, which is, by the way, got the double star tetrahedron in it, which is hyperdimensional physics, higher dimensional physics. The 5 is going to have Lincoln. The 10 is going to have Jefferson with the White House on the back. The 20 is going to have John F. Kennedy replacing Andrew Jackson. Now, I think personally, I don't get these two. I like Kennedy on the 20. I think that he deserves the credit as the founder of this war against the deep state. I don't get Grant. I don't get why Ulysses S. Grant is on the 50 still, and why Andrew Jackson is gone, because Jackson was the one who got rid of the central bank and led to the most prosperous period in American history, and he's a hero of President Trump. I would do Kennedy on the 20, Jackson on the 50, or vice versa. And the 100 is still going to have Ben Franklin. So this is a very close approximation of what these new notes are going to look like. And this is the Washington note. It's going to have blockchain technology in it. So it will become part of the digital technology system. Here's one thing I like. Notice on the White House here, on the $10, the Jefferson bill, they have there's a fence all around the White House. I like that. And here's something else that Phil just kind of glossed over, but I think is really important. Here's the Kennedy $20 bill. It does say Federal Reserve note, but I understand that's going to come away when they go to the real money. And on the back, they have Buzz Aldrin on the moon with "In God We Trust," of course, across it. And Phil's like, well, they're just kind of, because Kennedy committed us to going to the moon. No, Phil, it's because we really went to the moon. The moon is not plasma. It is solid rock. And this money should tell you that you're wrong about that. But again, I don't want to get into trashing Phil, because I like Phil, and I think a lot of his information is important. And again, these are the new bills. This is how they're going to look. I don't quite understand why Grant, who is a 33rd degree Scottish Rite Freemason, who created the city of Phoenix on the 33rd degree parallel, and it's a federal like conclave. It's not really, you don't really own your land there. He's an interesting character. I don't know why Grant would still be on here, and then Franklin, of course, on the $100 bill. So that's what your money's going to look like. Very close approximation to it. Again, this is some of the stuff that's in there that's on the going to be on the blockchain technology. It's really beautiful stuff. It looks great to me. And I think it reinforces, Jen, that yes, we in fact really did go to the moon. So any comments on that new currency? How close do you think that is? 80%, 90%?
I don't think that's the new currency. I think those are is a proposal for collectors' bills. What Gabriel's saying is that the new bills, what I got a long time ago, was what they'll actually have like gold, like weaved into it.
Mm-hmm.
So you could actually burn the thing and melt it down. But he keeps saying lavender. So the backing on some of those bills, which kind of almost looks lavender, not like just barely lavender. Okay, what's going to be the backing of the bills, and I don't know if they're going to be that colorful. I think that
in the Lincoln bill especially, there's lavender. See,
yeah. See how it's just barely lavender in the background. The new bills would have that kind of backing to it. They would be similar to the old ones. I do believe that these are collector's editions of certain bills that we're seeing here. So that's what I'm getting.
Okay. All right. So to sum this up, I don't think Phil's information is.
Oski.
What did he say?
That's
Lavender is gay AF. Okay. I don't think Phil's information on this is entirely correct. I think there's two possibilities. One, it's just wrong. And the NESARA that I've known about for 10 years now our version of NESARA is the way it's really going to go down. Or Phil's rules are going to be applied to certain people who maybe don't have as much debt to be repaid, or that they still need to be productive in the economy. That's a possibility, that there could be slightly different rules for different people. Retired people might get paid a little more, might get paid everything because they've been ripped off completely and don't have that much time left. So I would just say that I don't think either way. However, Phil's scenario is still infinitely better than what we have today.
Can we get a hold of the actual law? Because he was saying that NESARA is a law. It's not a concept.
Well, it is a law, but here's the thing. What he also said is that in Section 10 of the NESARA law, which he was quoting from a little bit, that it's up to us to decide how to distribute the NESARA funds. He said that right at the beginning. So he's simply giving you a scenario under which how the NESARA funds are going to be distributed. Okay, he said
it's up to us.
It says
us
right
referring
there
to who?
in the document that we decide the new government that's coming in is going to decide how this is going to be done.
Government or the people?
The government of the people. It's supposed to be a new government of the people, with a government that's more responsive to the people. So we are going to get to decide. So
nothing has gone ding to me. Okay, that's just my take. What the hell do I know? I'm over here talking to angels, for God's sake. So I'm just going to tell you what I get. I enjoy watching Phil. I believe that he believes what he received is actually.
I absolutely agree. Yep.
I don't think that he would come out there and give you anything that wasn't. I just don't, and we can. That's America. We can disagree, and I disagree.
All right. So, one thing he did say at the end too is this is all coming down really soon, which fits right in with December 15th to December 17th. So, I think we're all in agreement on that. All right, let's go to the chat and see what people will have to say and what questions they may have to ask in the brief amount of time we have left. Didn't we think that the Queen's death announcement was it before NESARA? Yeah, I think there's going to be a Queen announcement before NESARA, but we haven't got the Queen's announcement.
I really do. I don't know why that hasn't happened yet. I don't know why we haven't seen that. I'm just expecting it any day. I feel like it should have been a while ago. I mean, what,
Tested the flat Earth theory, put my level on the ground. Here's the thing: we're all gonna learn a lot of. We're all gonna be surprised by things we didn't expect when the truth starts to come out. Phil's one.
Yeah, unless you've gone into outer space, you don't really know.
Yeah, and again, I'm sure that I'm gonna be surprised by certain things that I didn't know. which is really bothers me because I'm supposed to know everything.
The more I learn, the more I realize, the less I know. It's like, and for me, it's like task at hand. Okay, what am I here to do? Who am I here to take care of? What am I here to teach? Yep. I don't really care if the earth is flat around, to tell you the truth, because I'm never going up there. I'm working on this, probably in this town, this country, to do my thing until it's time to go home. So, and I don't really know. I mean, from what I heard and from what I believe, it's a sphere. Now, whether that's a flat sphere or, I don't know. I have no idea.
It's a sphere. Well, Jenny Constantine says, it depends on your perception. We've decided in this reality that the earth is a sphere, but in other realities, it's like a very complicated geometric shape, like a dodecahedron with and really, you know what a sphere is in geometry? You know how they create a sphere in three-dimensional computer-aided design systems? A whole bunch of points make up a sphere. That defines a sphere, a whole bunch of little points. So you can have crude spheres, you can have very high-level accurate spheres. So she may be right. I don't know.
Yeah.
Willard
it depends on your perception.
Yeah.
Everything depends on your perception and your perspective.
The earth may look completely different in the fifth dimension than it does in the fourth. We don't know.
And then, if you come over and sit in the corner with me, I'll trip you out for a long time, because then we'll start talking to you about, well, whose reality are you talking about?
Right.
So we'll see.
Phil only discussed the debt. This is why I don't get invited to Patriot events or on Patriot channels like Nino Rodriguez, because I'll start coming in and saying, no, this guy or that guy's full of shit on this, because this is how money is really created. And this is why we should get everything back. So that's why I'm not popular. Phil only discussed the debt. He never mentioned the birthright or anything other than the debt. It's one facet of a complicated and detailed fraud perpetrated on the whole world. Willard Snow, you nailed it. You absolutely nailed it. I remember Candace saying, keep up with all your paperwork. Yep. In fact, if you have your mortgage papers, folks, go pull them out. Start reading them. It's a fascinating read when you go through it. It really is.
It's mind-numbing. I put it in the file cabinet and
they do that intentionally. They do that intentionally, so you'll never actually read it and absorb what it says. But you should go read and absorb what it says, especially the thing where it says you're giving the bank an interest in a property that you already own. Because that right there,
I'm a pain in the ass when it's time to sit down and sign the mortgage papers.
Yeah,
and everybody's like, I gotta go to lunch. Can you just sign here and sign here? And I'm just looking at it.
Here's what I'm gonna do.
You're so annoying.
Here's what I'm gonna. If they try to come to me and say, "Well, you only paid this much interest on this loan, on this mortgage, and on this mortgage you only paid this much, and that's all you get," I'm gonna say, "Okay, can we please pull up the paperwork? Because they'll have that too, all of the papers on these loans, and I'm gonna point them to the part where it says, I understand that I am giving an interest to the bank on property that I already own, because that's going to prove that I already own the property. Therefore, I get the principal back too. If I have to do that, that's what I'll do."
Here's the thing that the other thing that doesn't make sense to me about the Treasury going through the interest that everybody has paid on every loan to every institution for how many years? Your whole life? Okay, go and look at your credit report. Is it correct? No. It's never freaking correct. There's always something on there that's missing or wrong. So we're supposed to trust that some person working so fast to do all of this for millions and millions of people. What about the interest that my late husband paid? Do I get that? I mean, this is such a massive undertaking. I do not see where and if they did, they would have to admit that they've been watching everything financially that you have done for your entire life. And if they were doing that, that leads you back to the damn birth certificate that has a value on it, doesn't it?
Yep. Which is sitting today as we speak in the DTCC. The DTCC with a stamp on it that says accepted for value. Europa, the documentary of Black Pills, also exposed Einstein as a fraud. Einstein is not a fraud, but Einstein did the best he could with the information he had, which was maybe 80% of the picture. That's why Einstein and relativity will never create a unified field theory. So Jessica thinks I'm a good explainer. That's what I do. That's my skill, is be able to take very complex information and make it seem simple to people. That's my greatest gift. My ex managed my money, so I need to know. Yeah, that's never happening again.
Leslie's saying, couldn't a quantum computer compute all of that? Well, a computer's only as smart as
yes, it can.
The information you put into it.
The quantum computer can go back to 1976 and go to the little stereo shop in West Seattle where I bought my first stereo on credit for $25 a month. Paid for.
How would they know that?
They know that. They know that. They have that paperwork. Nothing is ever forgotten. It's all
okay. So who is keeping who? So how do we know that way back then they're keeping the data like they do now since computers?
Jen, when did you say that the plan started? Right after the assassination of President Kennedy.
Right, it was in the 60s.
They've been doing
actually,
they've been preparing for
I
this
just
day.
saw 1960 is when the plan started, and he was assassinated in what, 63?
63.
So he was part of it then, and he tried to do it then, and then they killed him.
What year were birth certificates started? 1933, when the Gold Act was put in place. FDR basically tried to enslave the entire planet. Certainly all Americans. If I get Nassara money, will I be able to build a cannonball car and break the 25-hour, 39-minute record to LA? Possibly.
I don't know, but we want video of you testing it out.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
We'll play it on the show.
For the Darwin Awards for 2022, Dave. Yeah, that's what we want that video for. Laura Mills, I like the lump or the payments either in retire. What is my next question is, what happens to medical insurance or Medicare? Will we have to pay out of pocket for it all then? I don't believe so. And one of the things Phil said is that that was justifying the student loan forgiveness is this is America. You don't have to pay to be educated, and you don't have to pay for medical treatment. That's what's going to happen. And, the thing is that once the med beds get in place, medical treatment is going to become different.
Now, I originally thought that if there was going to be lump sum payments or paid back for all this money that they've been making money off of from your birth certificate, I always thought that they would say, okay, when you retire, we're lowering the age to 55. And if you were over the age of 55, you can have that now.
That may be what happens. But you're not over 55, and we know. No,
I'm not.
We know what you're going to get.
I'm like way below 55. Okay.
You're not even 35 yet, Jen.
Oh, right.
Very nice graphic design on YouTube. I agree. Why Ben Franklin? Because he was one of the founders of our country. That's why. Founding father.
All right, a couple more, and then I got to get going.
All right, sweetie. Are there any real reading questions in here, or are we just going to do? Mike and Jen should be on the $1,000 bill. I vote we put Donald. I vote we bring back the $1,000 bill and put Donald Trump on it. But
I don't want to be on.
Mike and a stripper on the $100 bill. Thank you, Tuggy. Who's funnier, Tuggy or Oski? That's the question. Maybe they're both the same guy.
I'll only be on the bill if I get to approve the photo. Because, when other people take photos of me, it's usually got like double chin or something. It's not.
Quick reading. Okay. We actually have a reading question.
Attractive.
Karen says, I've been back and forth on getting my son Thomas a dog. Do you see a dog that is right for him and anywhere in particular to look? Well, I say go rescue a dog. Go get an old dog.
Yeah, Humane Society.
Humane Society.
In about 4 weeks.
In about 4 weeks.
He's got spots.
He's got spots. Rubinderan wants to know, will crypto be widely used for trading in the whole world? Because it's banned in some countries, it's going to be unbanned under the new system.
I don't know.
Under the new system. I do know I'm getting XRP. Okay. Last question, and then we'll let you go, Jen. BKF 1911. Jen, I wanted to ask about this idea of Tartaria. Do you know what Tartaria is? Yeah, me neither, really. In no way am I a flat earther, but the theory that a whole civilization or time has been kept from us is there any truth? The idea, I think, is that between ancient times and current times, there was this Tartaria period where our entire history has been fabricated. Is that it? I don't know.
I do believe there's missing time. Yeah, I mean, not it, if you take a look at it. I think there's a lot. I think there were some more advanced civilizations living on the Earth that were not recorded. Yeah, I do believe there's missing time. I don't know what that is, but
watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Okay, the elves were more advanced than the men. They represent a race that was on this planet that had to leave. Okay, the dwarves, they had to leave. Now this planet is controlled by men. That's what Lord of the Rings is about. Tolkien said it. It's the true history of Europe after the flood.
Really?
And there were lots and lots of different alien races here.
You know what? I'm at the point in my life, I've seen so many things that I never thought were possible that, I'm just basically open. I don't know if the Earth is flat. I've heard that it's a sphere. It's not round like the thing behind us.
Yeah, it is, basically. It's got a little bulge in the middle from the moon, but yeah.
Yeah, it's more eye-shaped or something. Just not quite round. Okay, it's not like perfectly round. But go to Jennifer Faladoring on YouTube and listen to some of my remote viewing meditations that I've done about Mars and things like that. And
yeah, we didn't do any Jennifer Fala stuff. Can we do that? Do we have time or no?
Sure, but then I gotta go.
All right. Please go to jenniferfala.com and get all kinds of cool stuff like gift cards. There's still time to get gift cards for Christmas. Jen, talk it up.
All right. So we've got a 30-minute reading, and this is the easiest way to send a gift. You can send it to anybody that you like via text message, email, instant message, and that is a 30-minute reading with me. Once you send it, you're done. The person contacts me with the instructions on the card, and we schedule it, and you are done. Pay no mind to the goat on the screen.
All right.
Okay. And so... So that one is $20 off the regular price. If you know somebody who would benefit from a healing and an energy cleanse, there is a gift card for that too, and that is 2 services for the price of 1. I usually get these cards out to you very quickly via email. It will go to your PayPal email, so be sure and open that up if you're looking for it. Also below there, I put that button there basically for people who ask for it to send me some love, and it's usually for people because I talk a lot, and sometimes people get a half an hour and we'll talk for 45 minutes and they want to send me something. You go right there if you want to do that. There are 2 psychic development classes. I do need to edit the site, but both of these are available to purchase now, and you can listen to them and watch them as many times as you like. Catch up because next month we will have another one. But those are still available right there. And then on the readings and services page, I still have all my readings and services available. Most people are doing the gift cards right now. Now, for those waiting for their healings, I had a mountain of healings hit me all at once. I am getting to you. I'm doing them. Next, I'm going to do them tomorrow morning. I'm going to do some more. And so just please be patient with me. They are coming.
And please be patient with Brooks about the ivermectin and the HCQ. Contact him. He will get everything tracked down for you. And please do not forget to patronize our wonderful sponsors, the ungovernedtshirtcompany.com. They have all kinds of cool Patriot gear for the Patriot in your family, as modeled by our own cub reporter, Casey Jones. Hats, stickers, gloves, not gloves, hats, stickers, beanies, T-shirts, long sleeve T-shirts, all kinds of cool stuff. Pick it up at the ungovernedtshirtcompany.com, ungovernedtees.com, true Patriot gear for true patriots. And once again, if you'd like to send me some love, paypal.me/Mike Barra, Venmo at Mike-Barra. The computer fund is filling up. I will keep you posted on when that gets done. Jen.
You guys are so funny. Deborah Thomas wants to know who's on the $0 bill. It's Biden. He's on the $0 bill.
Yeah. There we go.
I actually want one of those. If anybody's selling them, I want. a $0 bill with Biden on it.
Yeah, I think Trump's going to have to settle for Mount Rushmore. It's going to be 50 or 100 years before he gets.
Yeah, why isn't Trump? If Trump is pretty much saving the world, okay, he's the singer in the band that's saving the world, and why doesn't he get to be on a dollar bill?
Well, we shall see. We shall see in the future.
I think he should.
All right, guys. Again, send the love. It's great. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Everybody who's contributed, you're wonderful people, and I'll keep you posted on the computer thing. Jen, thanks again for a wonderful free reading Friday. I love you very much. And Saturday Night Live is on, as far as I'm concerned. I'll send out the email to Brooks and Blake and Candace and see who wants to come in. Maybe we can even talk Jenny Constantine coming on. I doubt it, because she's a busy girl on Saturday nights, but we can always try. Oh, no, maybe we won't do that. Maybe we won't.
I'm just kidding, because I'm just messing around. It's our inside joke now. Because he's like, oh, were you jealous that she was on? And I'm like, he would just love it if I was jealous if she was on. No, not.
I'll extend the invite. And yes, I have been banged. I have been banned again. I guess I can buy banned again from Facebook. I was on for like 2 hours before they banned me again. So another 30 days. However, I am going to try to create a new Facebook account at some point over the weekend. I'm going to call it Michael H. Barra on Facebook. So if you get an invite from me, I'll probably use the same red comic book logo. I'm going to try to get that in. Look for that on. If you get an invite from me to be my friend, it's going to be a real account, and hopefully I do get banged.
Oh my God.
Hopefully I do get banged this weekend. God knows.
This just totally struck me funny. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, that's fine. All right, everybody. Have a wonderful Friday. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you on SNL. Love you. You are the best, Jen. Have a great weekend. Enjoy the time with your family this weekend.
You too. Well, whatever.